Good morning, ma'am, or good afternoon, or good evening to you, ma'am. I am going to present my presentation in science, the performance task, big task, and I'm going to tackle about electromagnetic waves or EM waves, and we're going to tackle about its uses. Let's get started. I'm going to tackle about the uses and application of EM waves in everyday activities. Starting at number 1, we have radio wave. Radio wave are a type of electromagnetic radiation with wavelength and electromagnetic spectrum longer than infrared radiation. Wow! And radio wave electromagnetic spectrum at lower frequencies than microwaves. They are used in standard broadcast radio and television, shortwave radio, navigation and air traffic control, circular telephony, and even remote controlled toys. Wow, radio wave has a lot of uses and application. So, that's all for radio wave. And number 2, we're going to microwave. What is microwave? We're going to talk about microwave. So, microwave, where is microwave? So, microwave is a form of electromagnetic radiation with wavelength ranging from about 1 meter to 1 millimeter, corresponding to frequencies between 300 MHz and 300 GHz, respectively. Wow! And 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 microwave are widely used in modern technology, for example, in point-to-point communication links, wireless networks, microwave radio, relay networks radar, satellite and spacecraft communication, radiotherm and cancer treatment, and remote sensing. Wow! Microwave has a lot of uses and applications too. We have two uses and application of electromagnetic waves. Next is next is infrared or infrared. Pronounce pero it's infrared. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce. I'm going to read this. I'm going to pronounce this infrared. So let's continue. Infrared, sometimes called infrared light, is electromagnetic radiation with wavelength longer than those of visible light. It is therefore invisible to the human eye. Infrared light is generally understood to encompass wavelength from around 1 millimeter 1 to the nominal red edge of the visible spectrum around 700 nanometers. One of the most common uses of infrared radiation is heat sensitive. Yes, understandable. Thermal imaging cameras, also understandable. This can be used to study human and animal body heat patterns, but more often they are used as night camera. These have use in warfare, understandable. As security camera, very understandable. And in criminal animal research, very understandable. So, infrared light has a lot of uses, but not not very useful to me because I am only a student. So, it is very useful to other humans in the world. Scientists. It is useful for scientists. Very good. Next, next we're going to tackle the visible light. Okay, what is visible light? Visible light spectrum is the segment of the electromagnetic spectrum that the human eye can view. More simply, this range of wavelength is called visible light. Typically, the human eye can detect wavelengths from 380 to 700 nanometers. Wow! Aside from sight, there are other important uses for visible lights. True. A lot of important uses. Wait, I'm lost. I love visible light. We concentrate visible light to make lasers to use in every thing from wow, very useful. This is very understandable, very useful. To CD players, to laser pointers, visible lights wave also make our TV, computer and cell phone screen work. Wow, visible lights are very useful. Today's present in our present days, it is very useful because nowadays we use computers and cell phones, and visible lights help us to use cell phones because it works on cell phone. So visible lights are very useful, very useful to our everyday activities. Next one is X-ray. X-ray. So what is an X-ray? X-ray, or much less commonly X radiation, is potentially form of high energy electromagnetic radiation. Most X-ray have a wavelength ranging from 10 picometers to 10 nanometers, corresponding to frequencies in the range 30 hertz to 30 Hz, and energies in the range 144 eV to 124 keV. X-ray can be used to examine most areas of the bodies. Yes, these are mostly our bones. They are main. Okay, let's continue. Okay, they are X-ray. They are mainly used to look at the bones and joints, although they are sometimes used to detect problems affecting soft tissues, such as internal organs and yes, internal organs. Problem that that may be detected during an X-ray include bones fractures and breaks. Very dangerous. So X-ray is a very important uses for or application in our world, in our present days, in our activities, because we if we have an injury, we cannot if we don't have X-ray, we cannot see our broken. We cannot solve the problem inside our bones because we don't have X-ray. If X-ray hasn't been invented, so this is very important in our uses in application in electromagnetic waves. Next, X-ray. So these are my only uses and application in electromagnetic waves. We're going to proceed to the next. So the next is how do we protect ourselves from electromagnetic. How how do we protect ourselves from harmful effect of EM radiation such as UV? How do we protect ourselves? So we have three kinds of we have three kinds of defending ourselves. First is time. Second is distance, and the third is shield. So time, distance, and shielding actions minimize your exposure to radiation in much the same way as they would to protect you against overexposure to the sun. Very important. Time. So we're going to explain what is time. Why is time included? Time time for people who are exposed to radiation. In addition to natural background, radiation limiting or minimizing the exposure time reduces the dose from radiation source. That is use of the time. Next is distance. How do we protect ourselves with distance? Just as the heat from a fire reduces as you move, the dose of radiation decrease dramatically. Yes, it decreases as you increase your distance from the source. Yes, all we have to do is to distance away. That's how we protect ourselves from EM waves. All we have to do is all we need is distance. Next is shielding. Barrier of lead, concrete, or water provide protection from penetrating gamma rays and X-ray. This is where certain radiation materials are stored underwater in concrete or lead lines room, and way dentists place a lead blanket on patients receiving X-ray of their teeth. Yes, shielding. How do we protect ourselves from EM waves? We have to only shield ourselves. Concrete, good idea. Example: how dentists put a blanket on patients receiving X-ray of their teeth. Yes, this is how this is this is the three kinds of way on protecting yourself on EM waves. Thank you so much, mom. This is all my presentation, and thank you for listening, mom. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I entertained you. I hope I did my best. I hope I did my best, mom. Thank you for listening, mom, and thank you so much. See you